All right. Are you ready for the top? Well, five superpilotish 5 reasons why the El Salvadoran election could possibly be like their system could be the best in the world. Welcome to the superpilotish channel. My name's Graham Wilson, and today in my basement, I'm going to be telling you all about a little election that happened in a little country down in Central America yesterday, El Salvador. And it's one of those things that people hear El Salvador. I've heard of that somehow. Where is that? What is that? I don't really know. But I've kind of been keeping my eye on that little country in Central America for a little while now. It's looking pretty cool, and I was absolutely amazed watching their election results yesterday. I was blown away. Now, I'm a huge fan of democracy. I've said it on the channel before. Like, we don't talk about politics here at the Super Pilotish channel. But as far as, when you're dealing with aviation, you're regulated by a government somewhere, right? And if you're living in some country, there is some kind of a government. Hopefully, the system's pretty good. And I was blown away watching it yesterday on my computer, and I will tell you why I was blown away. And like, I always thought that Canada's federal election system was the best in the world. That I can't think of anything to make that better. Well, the El Salvadorans, they made it better than the Canadian system, and I'll tell you why with the super pilotish 5 reasons. So I'm going to get to that. And it was real. I was just, I was just blown away to watch this election happen. So we'll say 5 good things about, I'll bring out the old whiteboard again. 5 good things about the El Salvador, we'll just call that ES election. Oh, now I ran out of room. Election. It's kind of funny because it was like I didn't really plan on watching that on my computer or nothing. But yesterday I was learning Alice Cooper's song "I Want to Be Elected." That's a fun tune to play. But just so happened that there was an election that day too. So, okay, number one, starting off, everybody, they get a day off to go vote. Now here, your employer is required by law in Canada to, if you're working a certain, they got to give you so much time off at least so you can go vote. But the El Salvadorans do it right. Take the day off, man. So that was like cool. And it could be tricky. I don't know, babysitting kids or doing whatever you got to do to get to the polls. And so there's one little barrier to entry of voting that El Salvadorans took care of that. Hey, you got time, you got the day off. I'm sure that, nurses and firefighters and all those guys are all working, but, everyone else got the day off. And I also found out the entire country for yesterday, they had free local bus rides. So, like, yeah, you can get down to the voting station, sure. And there you go. Hop on the bus. It's free for everybody. Even like if you're a tourist, hey, hop on the bus. That's pretty cool. Free buses are all right once in a while. Another thing that's I'm not really sure what the rules are in Canada about this, but it's not really. I don't know. If you plan in advance, it's not the worst thing. They do not allow stores to sell alcohol on voting day. So, and your bars are closed, I think. So you got no booze. Well, I don't know. You can think what you want about that, but it's at least you're voting with a straight head. Making a good decision, hopefully. Now we're getting to the last two. We're up to 3 of the super pilotish 5. Great things about the El Salvador election. So what really blew me away was they had cameras when the voting was getting counted. They had cameras right there, which is cool. Now there we go. cameras all over the place. And like I was watching them. That's why I made like the little thumbnail for this video. That was just a screenshot off of my computer last night. And it's like, here we are. They're counting the ballots. And if you can see in the, I guess, top right little square there, someone's holding up the ballot. Here we go. Someone voted for this guy. And like to watch that in action was just amazing, because now I had seen that before. I was a scrutineer for a local candidate here before at the federal level, and it was cool to be part of that, to see, okay, like all of the political parties, they all had their people there watching. I was one of them. And then they had the people that were working there, they're watching. They had the bosses of the people working there, they're watching. But the rule was always that there's not supposed to be any cameras around in the polling station. So it's kind of weird nowadays that everybody's got phones on them and stuff. And like I'm not really sure. This was a few years ago when they said no cameras in there, and they even said like no cell phones, so like nothing. Why were they doing that? I guess it's probably to the main thing is to make it so that if you're voting, it's a secret ballot, so you don't want some camera looking over your shoulder seeing who you're voting for. That's the ballots should be secret. I think that's a good system to have. Hey Wrench, welcome to the show. And so in the El Salvadoran election yesterday, there's like people are counting the ballots, and there's a camera. I'm in Canada watching it. It's like, yep, yep, they voted for him. Yep. I don't see anyone stuffing ballot boxes. And it was really cool too to see who was watching. I'd kind of seen that, and like I was looking at it, thinking like, oh, that's what we do in Canada. But now it's like out there for the world, and it's all getting recorded. So every single ballot, there's video of it and audio of it, because they say, okay, they'd say the party that was getting elected, what was it, Nueva Ideas, New Ideas, and so they're like, okay, here's the ballot, boom, New Ideas, put it in the pile over here, which is what happens behind the scene. But I've never seen it like live, like for the world to see. And the thing is, like, and with the technology that's out there now, I mean, everything could be recorded. So if you want transparency in your voting, it's all on camera, man. Just go to the hard drive, watch it, If there's anything contested, well, let's pull out the videotape, just like a sports game or something, So that was just mind blowing to me that they had cameras that they were showing the counting of the ballots to the world. And I've never seen that before. I've never heard of it before. As far as I know, it's illegal to do that in Canada as of now. They might have changed the laws, but I doubt it. And so that was pretty wild. That one just blew my mind. That's why I had to talk about this today. I think that's because everybody's got a camera on their phone. They can all stream all that stuff. Oh, hey, Nefarious, thanks for popping in. And so you can just like, hey, this is how the ballots are getting counted, everybody. Hey, who wants to check it out? I see no reason why you can't do that now. Why don't you? That's pretty transparent to me, and it can be audited afterwards. Great idea, El Salvador. Fantastic. Another cool thing, this is on the number 5 of my 5 superpilotish 5 cool things about the El Salvador election, was that on the ballots, where are we here? Oh, got to use my high-tech eraser here again. Spelling things wrong. Oh, gotta get some more eraser paper here. Okay, here we go. So the other cool thing about their ballots that they had down in El Salvador was they had, let's say, candidate pictures. So most places, the candidates' pictures are right on the ballot. It's a big piece of paper. There's a picture of everybody you want to vote for. And I thought that's a really cool idea too, because like in a country like El Salvador, not everybody got to go to school there, so a lot of people there, maybe they can't read, can't write. they can sell veggies just fine or fix your car or something like that, but uh, maybe they can't read and write. So if you want them to be able to vote for who they want to, here's a picture of them. Put your X there. Like that's just very practical and just a really simple solution. And I'm trying to think too, with not everybody can read and write, even in North America or Europe or wherever. There's always that percentage that just kind of they didn't get the opportunity, or some people's brains they just process things differently and they can't quite get it. So pictures on the ballots, that's a pretty good idea, El Salvador. I'm very impressed. So yeah, and you might be wondering too. It's like like, hey, who cares about El Salvador? Well, like it's kind of been on my radar for a while because I've just kind of been hearing things and showing up. It's been showing up on Twitter for me and stuff. So actually, I'm going to be going to El Salvador on a vacation in another few weeks. So you'll have super pilotish in the tropics. I'll fill you in more on that later. I'll probably miss a few shows traveling, but I'll try to do maybe a couple down there. But yeah, and before you go somewhere, and that's another thing about El Salvador that's weird is that like you're reading about government websites and everything you look online is all like, oh my gosh, travel advisory and stuff. But you go to YouTube and everyone's like, yeah, it's awesome here, man. You can go surfing all the time. It's like, so I'm getting very mixed messages about El Salvador, and after what I've seen with their election yesterday, it's like, well, what do you mean it's so bad down there? I got to go check it out for myself because I kind of learned things the hard way. So, and I figured to check it out. And it's more, I don't know, exciting going somewhere like that than some resort in Jamaica or I don't know, hanging out at the Costco in Florida, or I don't know, going to a Wendy's in Arizona. So, okay, so we'll just wrap this up here and then go to questions and stuff like that. So the five super pilotish, five good things that I really was impressed about the El Salvador election. And number one, everybody got the day off. Pretty cool. I always like getting days off and stuff like that. Free bus to getting around anywhere you want. You want to go grocery shopping? Go for it. Bus is free. They're probably pretty busy, I'd imagine. And that's another way of, they don't have a whole lot of, some people down there, they don't have a whole lot of money. So you want to spend a buck on taking the bus to go vote, that could be a difference between getting dinner or not. So it's like, yeah, free bus. Awesome. No booze. So I mean, I'm sure everyone stocked up at the beer store before the grocery store was selling cases of beer and stuff. Because you got to celebrate, right? But yeah, while I don't know. And then I remember years ago there was a guy that was telling me what they used to do in Montreal here. The Liberals used to do up in Montreal, and he was like in charge of it. This is going back. He's dead now, but I met this guy in a bar. He was a real interesting guy, and he volunteered down at the library here in Windsor, and he worked for the Liberal Party up in Montreal, and they would go into they bring a bus outside the bar, and they go in there on election day and say, okay, everybody that gets on the bus, we're taking you down the vote, and we're going to get you free booze afterwards. And so all the guys empty out of the bar, they get on the bus, they all go vote, they all come back, and they get all smashed for free. Thank you, Liberal Party of Canada. So that was back in the day. I don't think you can get away with that. So I think that maybe El Salvador learned a little something from previous Montreal history. And okay, cameras. Most important thing in the world was cameras there on the watching everyone count the votes. The way they would do it was there's the big box. They would pull out one ballot out of the box. They'd unfold it, give it to the guy. He'd hold it up, and he'd read it, show it to the camera, say it out loud. All the scrutineers are watching it. It's like, okay, whatever the party was, Arena, okay, boom, puts it down in that pile. And then next one, New Ideas, puts it down in the other pile and just shows it all up, says it to the whole room, and it says it to the camera. And I'm watching it in my basement down here in Windsor. Pretty cool. So I was so impressed with that. I think that's the world that should be world standard by now. Technology is cheap enough, and if you got enough internet, I mean, every country in the world can get Starlink basically now. So it's like you should be able to stream your elections to the world for the cost of like a little crappy iPhone or a little crappy cell phone like I got. And okay, candidates' pictures. They were on the ballots. So maybe someone has a tough time reading. Yeah, I want to vote for that guy. All right, cool. There you go. So it really, those 5 things really made it more accessible for people to go vote, and made it more transparent and auditable. Fantastic. I'm so impressed with the El Salvadoran system there. And like, I got to admit, I'm taking a little bit of I don't know, a little bit of ego hit there, saying that like El Salvador is kicking Canada's butt for democracy. Weird. It's just a better system, and there's nothing stopping anyone from adopting the El Salvador model. I was so impressed. Oh, but I'm not going to put the 5 thing, but I do have one little criticism because I'm a good flight instructor. You always got to give like the good things and then the bad things too. So those are the good things about the election. The thing that I didn't particularly like, but it's not my country. It's not, I got nothing to say. But I would say this about any country, even in Canada, I'm critical of it, is that the people that lived there, El Salvadorans that were living all around the world, it was available to them to go to the local consulate or the local embassy, show up with their passport, good, ID and stuff like that. And I think they had to bring their it's the equivalent of like a social security number, social insurance number, and have that too. And then they could vote online at the consulate or the embassy. And it was kind of like, or whatever the designated place was. So I don't know. I'm not really a huge fan of voting online at all. The only way that I could see that it would be the only thing that I would trust, I could put my trust in for online voting, would be if the Free Software Foundation of the United States, they look into like, they want everything on your computer to be clean and ethical. And so I would say if the Free Software Foundation of the United States gives a voting software, the thumbs up, the stamp of approval, I would go for that. But anything short of the Free Software Foundation blessing, I'm don't really like it, because proprietary software, as they call it, you don't know what's in there, and it could affect the secrecy of the ballot. They could be rigging it. You wouldn't even know. Can I see the code? No, but we got a code in here that says like, hey, we can rip you off. I did kind of an article. I did a video a while back called Vote Box. If you check it out on YouTube, I was talking about how I don't really like things being hooked up to the internet. But so I don't know. Maybe that was a little. I'm not going to say it was shady or anything like that, but it's one thing that cannot be audited, or you can't check it up on it. But I mean, everything else about the El Salvador election, awesome. So good job, El Salvador. Okay, and so we'll see if there's any little questions or anything in here. I'm sure not everybody in the world is interested in El Salvador presidential elections. Yeah, it was like they were electing the president and then their legislative assembly, like, so it'd be the equivalent of like a federal election kind of thing. And then their municipal elections are coming up March. So there we go. All right. And what do we got here? All right. Cool that you were a scrutineer. Did I say that right? How'd that happen? Yeah, the way that I became a scrutineer was kind of I don't know, it was kind of a weird situation there. Basically, somebody asked me to be a scrutineer for somebody because somebody helped me out. I guess it's sort of public knowledge. I used to be a school board trustee years ago, and I ran for city council here. And somebody that helped me out on my campaign asked me if I would be a scrutineer for this other candidate. So I mean, it's one of those things. If people are helping you out for free, you kind of got to repay the favor. So that's kind of how I became a scrutineer. But I mean, I didn't get paid for it, but it was real real education. And then the another time I actually got paid to work on a municipal election. So here and yeah, that was another thing too about having the day off here. So I think having the day off now, the one thing I did find when I was working for the I forgot to mention this. I'm glad you brought this up, Wrench, that you jogged my memory. That there was the people that you get say like, "Hey, can you be available on a Tuesday all day?" It's like, well, most people have jobs and stuff, so you get a lot of retired people coming in there, and retired people, and I don't know, other people that aren't working. So it's not exactly how can I put it? I don't want to be mean or anything like that, but it's like, say, some people that are like really old, they don't know how computers work and stuff, and they might know, okay, I did this before, like back in the '60s. It's like, well, we do it this way now. Huh? What's that? Or some people aren't really up on the tech, or they're used to having such a regimented life that anything new knowledge that gets thrown at them, they're just confused. So I mean, generally everything's pretty cool, and they do hire people that are in charge are usually very good at fighting any fires that pop up. But I think you could get, let's just say, a more skilled workforce to work these elections if the person has a day off. Like, say you're someone like really good at someone's a bank cashier, and she's awesome at counting things and being right on the money for like numbers and stuff like that, because they're still, they got to cash out at the end, and all their money has to match up at the bank. So I would rather have someone like that working on an election rather than uh, grandma's 90 years old and she's bored, something like that. So that's what I mean. I think you could probably get a little bit higher caliber of employee, or skilled, or just a uh, you'd have a better selection of people to hire. Put it that way, if you got the day off, like El Salvador did. So that was one little thing. Okay, what else we got here? Hmm. All right, here we go. Let's get all political with Wrench over here. I'll take on Wrench. Yep. As a libertarian, he's not a fan of the day off. My company is trying to make money, forcing them to not work and not get paid. Not a fan. KC has free buses every day. Communism. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, that is a system, yeah, and I don't know. Eventually, like, free stuff costs people money. Somebody's got to pay for it. But I think it's one of those things of how much intervention, or what system works for the people that want to have that system. Yeah, and I see your point there, Wrench, and yep, that is a point. I don't know. It's like, I just like not going to work. So, anyways, but yeah, I mean, yeah, there's always it's kind of like a spectrum of beliefs and cultures and ideas that people have about politics. That's why I kind of don't really touch it here too much. But I think ultimately, if you have an open, transparent system, that should work for the vast majority of people. But I mean, like, there's people out there that say, yeah, I want a dictator, man. It's like, okay, you go live in dictator land. I don't want to live there. So, it's some people are kind of like that. And yeah, it's one of those things. That's why I don't talk about politics or religion, because it's kind of more of a belief, and it, people kind of make up their own minds about that. There's no change in anybody's mind on anything, pretty much. So anyways, okay, that is about that. Oh, yeah, when you're that's right. Ranch was talking about KC. Kansas City. I believe that's what he meant. Yeah. Um free buses. That'd be so expensive just to have, hey, we just got free buses running around like empty. Like I don't know how you can do that, but oh well. Not my job. Okay, so there we go. Let's see. That's about it for today. Okay, today is Monday. So yeah, I'll just kind of wrap it all up here. Today's Monday, so I'll be back here on Wednesday because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern, and we'll kind of shut her down. So thank you for watching, and congratulations to the people of El Salvador. Good job. Okay, bye.